The last episode found Terra under attack by the outer satellites. Terran defenses destroyed many of the incoming missiles, but not all. The Presteign mansion, though not hit directly, was badly shaken by the explosion. Most of the guests and servants evacuated, jaunting to find someplace safe. Foyle, still at Fourmyle, found Olivia Presteign standing outside in their garden, watching the bombardment in fascination, seeing it all in the microwave and infrared spectrum. She rejected his offers to take her to safety. Instead, she proved to Foyle that she could see incoming attacks before they hit distant targets. She taunted him, accusing him of making a pretense of bravery. She led him to believe there was a missile about to hit their location, challenging him to flee. However, Foyle, moved by anger and passion, swept Olivia into his arms and forcibly kissed her. He embraced her, waiting for the inevitable, which never came. Foyle realized that she had tricked him. Referring to the bombardment, Olivia announced that it was over, but Foyle retorted that the war between the two of them had just begun. She challenged him in turn, declaring that she was not a fairy tale princess and that he should make his war a savage one. Rather than win her, he should destroy her. Suddenly returning to her customary demeanor, she dismissed him haughtily. He left reluctantly in a state of confusion and enchantment. Foyle made his way to his new headquarters at St. Patrick's in New York City. There, he found Robin Wednesbury, thoroughly traumatized by the attack. She told him she wanted out of their arrangement, that dealing with both him and the war was too much for her. She offered to trade information for her freedom. She had found another lead to Vorga. Foyle agreed to the exchange, but on receiving the information, he immediately reneged. He told her that he still needed her help, not for Vorga, but with romance, as he was now in love with Olivia Presteign. Her furious reaction surprised him. She couldn't help but telesend both her disdain for Olivia and her intent to wreak her own vengeance and destroy Foyle before she jaunted away. Robin went directly to intelligence headquarters, risking an encounter with the people she feared as much as Foyle. She was taken to see Yang Yovel, who was able to deduce much about her situation from her responses, both spoken and telesent. He acknowledged how hurt and betrayed she felt. He approached her with sympathy, even to her surprise, recognizing her one-way telepathy as the social handicap that it was. Feeling assured enough to open up, she admitted to being badly hurt and betrayed by the man she was working for, and that she had come to betray him. Despite some remaining trepidation, she revealed at last that it was none other than Gulliver Foyle. Will Yovel catch up to Foyle? Will Foyle be able to continue his plans of vengeance? Will he ever see Olivia Presteign again? Find out in episode 13 of The Stars, My Destination by Alfred Bester.
Is it true he arrived by railroad? In a locomotive and observation car? What wonderful audacity!
Yes, he's a remarkable young man.
Presteign stood, iron gray and iron hard, in the reception hall of his home, alone with his daughter. He was guarding honor and life while he waited for servants and staff to return from their panic-stricken jaunt to safety. He chatted imperturbably with Olivia, never once permitting her to realize their grave danger.
Father, I'm exhausted.
It's been a trying night, my dear, but please don't retire yet.
Why not?
Presteign refrained from telling her that she would be safer with him.
I'm lonely, Olivia. We'll talk for a few minutes.
I did a daring thing, Father. I watched the attack from the garden.
My dear, alone?
No, with Fourmyle.
A heavy pounding began to shake the front door, which Presteign had closed.
What's that?
Looters? Don't be alarmed, Olivia. They won't get in.
He stepped to a table on which he had laid out an assortment of weapons as neatly as a game of patience.
There's no danger, my love.
He tried to distract her.
You were telling me about Fourmyle.
Oh, yes, we watched together, describing the bombing to each other.
Unchaperoned? That wasn't discreet, Olivia.
I know, I behaved disgracefully. He seemed so big, so sure of himself, that I gave him the Lady Hauteur treatment. You remember Miss Post? My governess, who was so dignified and aloof that I called her Lady Hauteur. I acted like Miss Post. He was furious, father. That's why he came looking for me in the garden.
And you permitted him to remain. I'm shocked, dear.
I am too. I think I was half out of my mind with excitement. What's he like, father? Tell me, what's he look like to you?
He is big, tall, very dark, rather enigmatic, like a Borgia. He seems to alternate between assurance and savagery.
Ah, he is savage then. I could see it myself. He glows with danger. Most people just shimmer. He looks like a lightning bolt. It's terribly fascinating.
My dear, unmarried females are too modest to talk like that. It would displease me, my love, if you were to form a romantic attachment for a parvenu like Fourmyle of Ceres.
The Presteign staff jaunted into the reception hall. Cooks, waitresses, footmen, pages, coachmen, valets, maids. All were shaken and hangdog after their flight from death.
You have deserted your posts. It will be remembered. My safety and honor are again in your hands. Guard them. Lady Olivia and I will retire.
He took his daughter's arm and led her up the stairs, savagely protective of his ice-pure princess.
Blood and money.
What, father?
I was thinking of a family vice, Olivia. I was thanking the deity that you have not inherited it.
What vice is that?
There's no need for you to know. It's one that Fourmyle shares.
Oh, is he wicked? I knew it. Like a Borgia, you said. A wicked Borgia with black eyes and lines in his face. That must account for the pattern.
Pattern, my dear?
Yes, I can see a strange pattern over his face. Not the usual electricity of nerve and muscle. Something laid over that. It fascinated me from the beginning.
What sort of pattern do you mean?
Fantastic. Wonderfully evil. I can't describe it. Give me something to write with. I'll show you.
They stopped before a 600-year-old Chippendale cabinet. Presteign took out a silver-mounted slab of crystal and handed it to Olivia. She touched it with her fingertip. A black dot appeared. She moved her finger, and the dot elongated into a line. With quick strokes, she sketched the hideous swirls and blazons of a devil mask. Saul Dagenham left the darkened bedroom. A moment later, it was flooded with light as one wall illuminated. It seemed as though a giant mirror reflected Gisbella's bedroom, but with one odd quirk. Gisbella lay in the bed alone, but in the reflection, Saul Dagenham sat on the edge of the bed alone. The mirror was, in fact, a sheet of lead glass separating identical rooms. Dagenham had just illuminated his.
Love by the clock.
Dagenham's voice came through a speaker.
Disgusting.
No, Saul, never.
Frustrating,
Not that either.
but unhappy.
No, you're greedy. Be content with what you've got.
It's more than I ever had. You're magnificent.
You're extravagant. Now go to sleep, darling. We're skiing tomorrow.
No, there's been a change of plan. I've got to work.
Oh, Saul, you promised me. No more working and fretting and running. Aren't you going to keep your promise?
I can't with a war on.
To hell with the war. You sacrificed enough off the Tygo sands. They can't ask any more of you.
I've got one job to finish.
I'll help you finish it.
No, you'd best keep out of this, Gisbella.
You don't trust me.
I don't want you hurt.
Nothing can hurt us.
Foyle can.
What?
Fourmyle is Foyle. You know that. I know you know.
But I never.
No, you never told me. You're magnificent. Keep faith with me the same way, Gisabella.
Then how did you find out?
Foyle slipped.
How?
The name.
Fourmyle of Ceres? He bought the Ceres company.
But Geoffrey Fourmyle?
He invented it.
He thinks he invented it. He remembered it. Geoffrey Fourmyle is the name they use in the megalomania test down in Combined Hospital in Mexico City. I used the Megal mood on Foyle when I tried to open him up. The name must have stayed buried in his memory. He dredged it up and thought it was original. That tipped me.
Poor Gully.
Dagenham smiled.
Yes. No matter how we defend ourselves against the outside, we're always licked by something from the inside. There's no defense against betrayal, and we all betray ourselves.
What are you going to do, Saul?
Do? Finish him, of course.
For 20 pounds of pyre?
No. To win a lost war.
What?
Isabella came to the glass wall separating the rooms.
You, Saul? Patriotic?
He nodded almost guiltily.
It's ridiculous, grotesque, but I am. You've changed me completely. I'm a sane man again.
He pressed his face to the wall too, and they kissed through 3 inches of lead glass. Mare nubium was ideally suited to the growth of anaerobic bacteria, soil organisms, phage, rare molds, and all those microscopic life forms essential to medicine and industry, which required airless culture. Bacteria Incorporated was a huge mosaic of culture fields traversed by catwalks spread around a central clump of barracks, offices, and plant. Each field was a giant glass vat, 100 feet in diameter, 12 inches high, and no more than 2 molecules thick. A day before the sunrise line reached Mare nubium, the vats were filled with culture medium. At sunrise, abrupt and blinding on the airless moon, the vats were seeded, and for the next 14 days of continuous sun, they were tended, shielded, regulated, nurtured. The field workers trudging up and down the catwalks in spacesuits. As the sunset line crept toward Mare nubium, the vats were harvested and then left to freeze and sterilize in the 2-week frost of the lunar night. Jaunting was of no use in this tedious step-by-step cultivation. Hence, Bacteria Inc. hired unfortunates incapable of jaunting, and paid them slave wages. This was the lowest form of labor, the dregs and scum of the solar system, and the barracks of Bacteria Inc. resembled an inferno during the 2-week layoff period. Foyle discovered this when he entered barrack. He was met by an appalling spectacle. There were 200 men in the giant room. There were whores and their hard-eyed pimps, professional gamblers and their portable tables, dope peddlers, moneylenders. There was a haze of acrid smoke and the stench of alcohol and analog. Furniture, bedding, clothes, unconscious bodies, and empty bottles and rotting food were scattered on the floor. A roar challenged Foyle's appearance, but he was equipped to handle the situation. He spoke to the first hairy face thrust into his.
Kempsey?
He was answered outrageously. Nevertheless, he grinned and handed the man 100 note.
Kempsey?
He asked another. He was insulted. He paid again and continued his saunter down the barracks, distributing 100 notes in calm thanks for insult and invective. In the center of the barracks, he found his key man, the obvious barracks bully, a monster of a man, naked, hairless, fondling 2 bods, and being fed whiskey by sycophants.
Kempsey?
Foyle asked in the old gutter tongue.
I'm digging Roger Kempsey.
I'm digging you for broke.
The man thrust out a huge paw for Foyle's money.
Gimme!
There was a delighted howl from the crowd. Foyle smiled and spat in his eye. There was an abject hush. The hairless man dumped the bods and surged up to annihilate Foyle. 5 seconds later, he was groveling on the floor with Foyle's foot planted on his neck.
Still digging Kempsey. Digging hard, man. You better finger him, man, or you're gone is all.
Washroom! Hold up! In washroom!
Now you broke me.
Foyle dumped the rest of his money on the floor before the hairless man and walked quickly to the washroom. Kempsey was cowering in the corner of a shower, face pressed to the wall, moaning in a dull rhythm that showed he had been at it for hours.
Kempsey?
The moaning answered him.
What's the matter, you?
Clothes, clothes, all over clothes, like filth, like sick, like dirt. Clothes, all over clothes.
Up, man, get up!
Clothes, all over clothes, like filth, like sick, like dirt.
Kempsey, mind me, man. Oral sent me.
Kempsey stopped weeping and turned his sodden countenance to Foyle.
Who? Who?
Sophia Oral sent me. I bought your release. You're free. We'll blow.
When?
Now.
Oh, God bless her, bless her.
Kempsey began to caper in weary exultation. The bruised and bloated face split into a facsimile of laughter. He laughed and capered, and Foyle led him out of the washroom. But in the barracks, he screamed and wept again, and as Foyle led him down the long room, the naked bods swept up armfuls of dirty clothes and shook them before his eyes. Kempsey foamed and gibbered.
What's the matter, him?
Foyle inquired of the hairless man in the gutter patois. The hairless man was now a respectful neutral, if not a friend.
Guesses for grabs. Always like that, him. Show old clothes and it twitch, man.
For why already?
For why? Crazy is all.
At the main office airlock, Foyle got Kempsey and himself corked in suits and then led him out to the rocket field where a score of anti-grav beams pointed their pale fingers upward from pits to the gibbous earth hanging in the night sky. They entered a pit, entered Foyle's yawl, and uncorked. Foyle took a bottle and a sting ampule from a cabinet. He poured a drink and handed it to Kempsey. He hefted the ampule in his palm, smiling. Kempsey drank the whiskey, still dazed, still exulting.
Free. God bless her, free. You don't know what I've been through.
He drank again.
I still can't believe it. It's like a dream. What? Why don't you take off, man?
Kempsey choked and dropped the glass, staring at Foyle in horror.
Your face. My God. Your face. What happened to it?
You happened to it, you son of a bitch.
Foyle leapt up, his tiger face burning, and flung the ampule like a knife. It pierced Kempsey's neck and hung quivering. Kempsey toppled. Foyle accelerated, blurred to the body, picked it up in mid-fall, and carried it aft to the starboard stateroom. There were 2 main staterooms in the yawl, and Foyle had prepared both of them in advance. The starboard room had been stripped and turned into a surgery. Foyle strapped the body on the operating table, opened a case of surgical instruments, and began the delicate operation he had learned by hypnotraining that morning, an operation made possible only by his 5-to-1 acceleration. He cut through skin and fascia, sawed through the rib cage, exposed the heart, dissected it out, and connected veins and arteries to the intricate blood pump alongside the table. He started the pump. 20 seconds objective time had elapsed. He placed an oxygen mask over Kempsey's face and switched on the alternating suction and rotation of the oxygen pump. Foyle decelerated, checked Kempsey's temperature, shot an anti-shock series into his veins, and waited. Blood gurgled through the pump in Kempsey's body. After 5 minutes, Foyle removed the oxygen mask. The respiration reflex continued. Kempsey was without a heart, yet alive. Foyle sat down alongside the operating table and waited. The stigmata still showed on his face. Kempsey remained unconscious. Foyle waited. Kempsey awoke, screaming. Foyle leapt up, tightened the straps, and leaned over the heartless man.
Hello, Kempsey.
Kempsey screamed.
Look at yourself, Kempsey. You're dead.
Kempsey fainted. Foyle brought him to with the oxygen mask.
Let me die, for God's sake.
What's the matter? Does it hurt? I died for 6 months and I didn't whine.
Let me die.
In time, Kempsey. Your sympathetic block's been bypassed. But I'll let you die in time, if you behave. You were aboard Vorga on September 16, 2436?
For Christ's sake, let me die.
You were aboard Vorga?
Yes.
You passed a wreck out in space. Wreck of the Nomad. She signaled for help, and you passed her by, yes?
Yes.
Why?
Christ, oh Christ, help me.
Why?
Oh, Jesus.
I was aboard Nomad, Kempsey. Why did you leave me to rot?
Sweet Jesus, help me. Christ, deliver me.
I'll deliver you, Kempsey, if you answer questions. Why did you leave me to rot?
Couldn't pick you up.
Why not?
Ref's aboard.
Oh, I guess right then. You were running refugees in from Callisto.
Yes.
How many?
600.
That's a lot, but you could have made room for one more. Why didn't you pick me up?
We were scuttling the refs.
What?
Overboard. All of them. 600. Stripped them. Took their clothes, money, jewels, baggage. Put him through the airlock in batches. Christ. The clothes all over the ship. The shrieking and the Jesus. If I could only forget the naked women, blue, busting wide open, spinning behind us, the clothes all over the ship. 600 scuttled.
You son of a bitch. It was a racket? You took their money and never intended bringing them to Earth?
It was a racket.
And that's why you didn't pick me up?
Would have had to scuttle you anyway.
Who gave the order?
Captain.
Name?
Joyce. Lindsay Joyce.
Address?
Skopsy Colony, Mars.
What?
Foyle was thunderstruck.
A Skopsy? You mean after hunting him for a year, I can't touch him? Hurt him? Make him feel what I felt?
He turned away from the tortured man on the table, equally tortured himself by frustration.
A Skopsy! The one thing I never figured on after preparing the port stateroom for him. What am I going to do? What in God's name am I going to do?
He roared in fury, the stigmata showing livid on his face. He was recalled by a desperate moan from Kempsey. He returned to the table and bent over the dissected body.
Let's get it straight for the last time. This Skopsy, Lindsay Joyce, gave the order to scuttle the refs.
Yes.
And to let me rot.
Yes. That's enough. Let me die.
Live, you pigman, filthy, heartless bastard. Live without a heart. Live and suffer. I'll keep you alive forever, you.
A lurid flash of light caught Foyle's eye. He looked up. His burning image was peering through the large square porthole of the stateroom. As he leapt to the porthole, the burning man disappeared. Foyle left the stateroom and darted forward to main controls, where the observation bubble gave him 270 degrees of vision. The burning man was nowhere in sight.
It's not real. It couldn't be real. It's a sign, a good luck sign. A guardian angel. It saved me on the Spanish stairs. It's telling me to go ahead and find Lindsay Joyce.
He strapped himself into the pilot chair, ignited the yawl's jets, and slammed into full acceleration.
Lindsay Joyce, Skopsy Colony, Mars.
He was thrust back deep into the pneumatic chair.
A Skopsy, without senses, without pleasure, without pain. Ultimate in stoic escape. How am I going to punish him? Torture him. Put him in the port stateroom and make him feel what I felt aboard Nomad. Damnation. It's though he's dead. He is dead. And I've got to figure how to beat a dead body and make it feel pain. To come so close to the end and have the door slam in your face. The damnable frustration of revenge. Revenge is for dreams, never for reality.
An hour later, he released himself from the acceleration and his fury, unbuckled himself from the chair, and remembered Kempsey. He went aft to the surgery. The extreme acceleration of the takeoff had choked the blood pump enough to kill Kempsey. Suddenly, Foyle was overcome with a novel, passionate revulsion for himself. He fought it helplessly.
What's the matter, you? Think of the 600 scuttled. Think of yourself. Are you turning into a white-livered cellar Christian? Turning the other cheek in whining forgiveness? Olivia, what are you doing to me? Give me strength, not cowardice.
Nevertheless, he averted his eyes as he scuttled the body. End of episode 13.